Yeah.
Welcome back to the podcast. My guest today is Roger Cunningham. In 2017, Roger and his best friend launched their own product company called Ginger Tree Innovations. He also launched his own digital marketing firm, Ginger Up Media, which works with local Colorado lifestyle brands like Liberty Skis, Weston Snowboards, Comedy Works, Boone Mountain Sports, and Crazy Mountain Brewery, just to name a few. In 2019, after working with Mountain Primal Meat Company initially as Ginger Up Media client, he was asked to come on full-time to initially run their email marketing and platform management. He recently was promoted to Director of Digital Marketing and now oversees all of their online strategy. Roger has also taught several digital marketing courses at Colorado Free University in Denver. Additionally, he does stand-up comedy, and he recently opened up for Kevin Farley, who is Chris Farley's brother, just last December. Roger, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Kitty. Glad to be here.
So let's start back at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you grew up and what your life was like growing up.
Oh man, I grew up in Texas, so I think living in between New York and Colorado after school, I think it kind of my twang went away a little bit. But yeah, I grew up in East Texas. I grew up in Longview, Texas. Our claim to fame is that's where Matthew McConaughey grew up. so so that's kind of cool. And then I went to the University of Texas at Austin, and so I was Texas boy. Yep, hook 'em horns. I was a Texas boy. True and true. And then, yeah, a little bit about me growing up. I grew up as lots of fishing, lots of outdoor stuff, the normal Texas stuff that you do, and barbecue is life. and yeah, it was great. It was a good, I had really enjoy going to the University of Texas. Austin it's too hot for me now. I've been spoiled by Colorado and living up north, but I love Austin and I love to get back there. Actually, Ginger Tree Innovations is based out of Dripping Springs, down south, just south of Austin. So I get down there quite a bit. But yeah, that's a little bit about where I grew up.
So how do you think that your upbringing impacted your eventual career and professional journey?
Oh, well, I grew up in a pretty funny household. I grew up in we were really lighthearted and my brothers were hilarious. I mean, sometimes at my expense, but I'm the youngest of five. So we I don't know, we all grew up, we've never met a stranger. So I think that kind of impacted, it just made sense for me to go into like a sales marketing role. I was, looking back on it, I was kind of bound to fall into those things. And I'm a nerd at heart as well. So the marketing and the analytics and the digital marketing and all of that stuff just kind of made sense for me because I've always kind of been into that stuff. And it's funny, I was an English major. So I always joke about it. I'm like, well, that's how I got into email marketing, but it has nothing to do with it. But I think growing up in Texas, it's kind of, I grew up in a really friendly atmosphere, a very funny atmosphere. All of my friends, we were just a bunch of jokesters, and I was voted wittiest in my high school. So I've always been kind of class clown. So I was just kind of outgoing, and it just kind of made sense. So sales and marketing and partnerships and all of that stuff always kind of just went along with my personality.
Take us through your career journey a little bit. Tell us, a bit where you started out and some of the different professional stops that you've taken along the way.
Yeah, it's been actually where I am now. It's just funny. I was talking about this recently for me to be where I am now took a long time to get there because this is a marketing podcast. So one thing to know about getting into marketing, if someone's listening to get into marketing, is it's not an easy road to really get into, especially if you're making a transition from sales. So just a little walk down memory lane for me is I started my sales career in college. I was fully on track I wanted to go to law school when I went to the University of Texas. So an English degree made perfect sense there, but I actually got involved with a program, the Southwestern program, and I sold books door to door out of state every single summer to pay my way through school, which is a really cool program. I got college credit. It's a lot of, um, it's just a program, and you sell for 100% commission. So it sounds insane. That's a whole different conversation, but that's kind of how I got my start into sales. And I mean, it's grassroots, literally knocking on doors, creating, um, rapport with people that you never met in your life. And it just, I mean, you have to learn pretty quick. And I did it for 5 summers. I took a couple of extra years to graduate so I could pay my way through school and, I did it the fun way, I guess. And, but that's kind of where I got my start. And from there, after I graduated, I kind of went into a sister company, I was a state director for an insurance company for 5 years. And, um, all of those sales skills applied over to that. And I did very well with that, but it ultimately, it wasn't, I knew it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do in life. And that going back to that, I've always been a fan of comedy. I've always been a jokester, always been the class clown. And I took a huge leap, and I moved to New York City with no job, no prospect of a job, just my residuals from my insurance company, and I took a stab at stand-up comedy. And I had so much fun in New York City, and we were producing shows and doing all kinds of different things. And it's actually a pretty tight knit community in New York City. So got to meet some really cool people doing it, but obviously it doesn't exactly pay the bills. I won $50 one time in a stand-up comedy contest, but I was able to, through comedy and through just being able to meet people, I quickly networked, and I was recruited by a company called ZocDoc, which is like for a long time was the sweetheart online startup for New York City. And I was the 64th employee, I believe. And I mean, when I started, we had a corner office in Soho. And then by the time I left, we had about 700 plus employees, and it was just an insane valuation. So that's where I got into tech. So that took me, I saw like the coolest stuff, just the innovation, and it's just the vibe was exciting. So I was like, this is kind of where the space that I like, this is really cool. Everything's headed this way. So, try to keep this as short as I can, but then I have a passion for the ski industry, and skiing and everything. So it got to a point to where I didn't know anyone walking down the halls of ZocDoc. I love the company. I love everything they were doing. I love the people I work with, but just got to a point where I was looking for another change. So I moved to Colorado, and I studied ski and snowboard marketing and steamboat at Colorado Mountain College. And I worked in the industry, and I had a blast. I skied my face off. I worked my tail off for different ski companies, and just loved every minute of it. Learned the ins and outs of production all the way down. And it was just exactly what I love to do, but I still have that tech kind of in the back of my, that's what I really like to do as well, as the tech side of it. So I got a call from New York again to come back but back in sales and marketing for a web development firm. And so it's like, yeah, that sounds great. So moved back, and we ran a really cool, super creative boutique firm called Night Owl Interactive. And we were doing some really cool stuff, making some skunkworks projects and deep application work for like Spotify and American Red Cross, and was able to pull into some big accounts and learn the operations side of all of that, which I had a great time doing, and I love doing it. But I think I kind of knew that I wanted to shift into like more of the marketing side because I loved building things, but it was more about, for me, it got to be like, okay, now we've built this beautiful thing. How do we get it out to the masses? How do we promote this, and how do we get people to look at it and use it? So I took another step and I went to NYU and I got my certification in digital marketing from New York University, NYU, and that was so cool because the professors were, big time CMOs and marketers for, big firms, as well as like large brands. So that was really cool. So I went all the way through that, and all of this, I met my life and I got married. And we had both kind of hit. I was itching to get back to Colorado, and she was kind of in New York. You hit, most people will hit kind of their timeline, and they're like, "I need to go. It's time to go." And it's usually during the winter too. It's just terrible. So we made the decision, and we moved back to Colorado. I left I gave up my partnership with Night Owls. And they're still thriving. They're doing well. And I moved back, and I kind of worked. I was pushing very, very hard to get into the digital marketing space as an actual marketer, not as a sales person, but as a marketer. So, but that's a difficult transition that to make sometimes. So I worked as a sales executive for some web development firms and some mobile marketing here in town, as well as a digital marketing firm. And I was doing mostly sales and I would sneak in a little bit of implementation, which when I got to do it, and I love doing that stuff. But finally, I was really going after that marketer role, true marketer role. And anyone that's tried to make that transition can probably, understand it's just not automatic. It's like, okay, you understand sales, but I don't see the marketing side of it. So I said, screw it, I'm going to go out on my own. And a buddy of mine, my best friend since middle school, called me up and wanted to really launch an idea that he had for an underground tree stake. I had no idea. I didn't even, he had to explain it to me. I was like, what are you talking about? This is insane. So he did. And I was like, that's pretty brilliant. I don't know anything about the landscape industry, but I do know marketing, and I know how to, it'd be cool. So we built the brand just on the side for a while. We just built the idea. We're both vibrant redheaded people. So we always embrace the ginger. So we named the company Ginger Tree Innovations. We know ginger's not a tree. It's just kind of funny, and it turns out it's an awesome icebreaker because when we meet them in person, they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
That's where ginger comes from. All right.
Exactly, that's where it comes from. And then, so we created that from the ground up. Literally, just the name, the logo. He's a graphic designer as well and a landscape architect. So we had kind of those things going for us, and that was just really cool. I mean, we got some funding, a little bit of funding from my tech experience. I kind of knew a little bit about going after that, and we built this physical net. And we were just patented a couple of days ago, literally. So that's been a 3-year journey, but we're able to now. We're a pretty profitable company with our product. We're in a lot of commercial projects and things. So, but it was kind of just. I mean, it was really a fashion, but it was like a project. It was like let's see if we can do this, and let's prove these marketing chops and these innovation chops. And we did, and it's been cool. And from that kind of stemmed, like, we were like, I had a lot of people from my background in skis and, just in general, that were constantly asking me to help them out with their marketing, their digital side. So we also branched off and did Ginger Up Media, and we turned that into a brand. Literally, the logo is my face and my business partner's hair. So it's another play on ginger, and got to work with some really cool brands. I was doing exactly what I love to do. We were in the outdoor space. We're working with Comedy Works, which insanely awesome organization. I love them to death. And then some breweries. I'm a big beer drinker.
You say
I love making beer and
all of the brands that you work with are definitely, from our conversation, brands that you have an interest in, snowboard, skiing, comedy, and
yep.
beer. So that's pretty great to be able to work for companies that you have a passion.
Exactly. It helps too, because on the marketing side, I made a conscious decision when I did switch over, and I kind of took control of that career path. I was like, I really only want to work with something that I can understand and have a passion for, and on a daily basis, I do want to learn more about it. It's not that I don't work for some widget that I just don't understand or don't care to understand. So it helps when it all comes out in the end. It comes out in the marketing. It comes out if we make do a video for them, or if we're so that's kind of the decision we made, and that's what we rolled with, and kind of brings me up to the present somewhat. One of our clients was Mountain Primal Meat Company. I'm also a huge I mentioned barbecue earlier. My dad was a butcher for 40 years. My brother's in meat processing. It's just kind of in our family. It's just barbecue is life in Texas. And I'm a big, I'm a amateur smoker, I guess. I'm smoking ribs as we speak right now, seriously, on my Traeger. But and I met John and the guys out at Mountain Primal through a former coworker, and we did a video project for them. And I actually went out to the ranch with Ginger Up and my team, my video team, and went out there and met the guys. And I just absolutely fell in love with the whole organization, the ranch, how they were doing, how they were raising the animals, just everything about it. And not long after we did the video project, they needed someone to come on and take on some digital marketing things. And so we talked about it, and I just kind of made the decision. I was like, this is really cool. This company is doing everything right in my book, as far as on the marketing side, taking risks, building a brand, has a story, and started out just doing their email marketing and their platform management, meaning kind of just handling their website and any platforms that we built on that came in, kind of vetting them. And then we then kind of worked hard and kind of started getting my hands in other things. And earlier this spring, I was promoted to the director of digital marketing, and now every aspect of the online stuff is all me. So it was a long road to get there, from a sales guy to director of digital marketing, but I don't know how to say it. I'm living my best life, doing exactly what I love to do on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
In my office, when I go out to obviously we're all working from home a lot right now, but when I go out to my office out there, I'm on a ranch. I'm looking at, this beautiful land on Crown Mountain in the background. It's right outside of Aspen. So, but I'm plugging away on the computer, but at the same time, it's really cool what we do. So, but yeah, I know that's a long journey to get here, but that's my story.
Well, and I think that having that background in sales definitely opens up your eyes to more of the marketing aspect, because especially in digital marketing, all the different marketing that you're doing while you're still trying to develop the brand and develop the community and develop the voice, it still is great if you have a sales background to know I need to put out this type of message so that people will click learn more or click buy now.
100%. It all kind of just ties together. The sales background is, why people buy, the buying line, where to get them, and you understand that the funnel, I guess, and it really kind of puts the marketing funnel into perspective because I can think back, and it all kind of ties down to just that buying line and how you have to get them there. I mean, online is a little slower and a little bit of a different process, but it is kind of the same. It's very similar.
And I want to talk a little bit about where you started with your current position. You started just with email, and
Mm-hmm.
it's such an important part of marketing to have a strong email presence, because you're getting right into people's inboxes, and these are people that have given you permission to get into their inboxes. Whereas with social media, you're just kind of putting the message out there, hoping you're getting the right someone that's interested, especially if you're doing an
Right.
ad campaign. But this way, when you're going directly through email, you have people that have said, yeah, you can get in touch with me. Talk to us a little bit about having a strong email newsletter or strong email presence for your company.
Oh man, it's night and day. It can and I have I mean, it's close to my heart because I just love it. I see how powerful it is. Like following guys like Brian Dice and those guys that I've learned from, through all these trainings. It can make or break a company. It literally can. It can take you to that, or it can take you to that next level. But when I started Mount Primal, there was, a small bit there, but we really just beefed it up. That's why they brought me on, and it's made a world of difference. And it's really about, and it takes a while. It's patience. It's a game of patience, but it's also, you've got to come at it from different ways. You have your different ways of gathering your emails. But you have to have, and we can go into strategy if you'd like to. But
Let's
it's really
go
made
into strategy.
yeah. So basically, you start out and you have to come at it from different ways, because it's all about traffic. Because if you're going to gain these emails, you have to have a very tight funnel. You can't really, and you mentioned before the call the kind of those tips of the trades.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about that funnel. And people start out, you have your funnel, your awareness, and then your consideration, and then and then your conversion. But on the sides of that funnel, when you start out, you have lots of little holes where people are just slipping out here, slipping out here, slipping out here. And the way I kind of think about it is, okay, I'm going to set up my my Facebook pixel to track them when they come, so I can retarget. You're slapping on some seal right there, and you're covering that hole. Yep. Then you're like, okay, I'm gonna do some smart pop-ups on my website on these pages with this offer. Okay, I'm gonna slap that. Or in general, up here, maybe you're just doing a pop-up, just one pop-up with an offer. You're gonna cover a hole right there. So one thing that I did when I came in, as far as the email marketing goes, is I found all those little holes and I just patched them. It's like, okay, we're going to start out with just a pop-up. So when they show up to the site, you have to have an offer. So we offered a couple of different things, and we've tried a lot, and a lot of it is it's trial and error. You could start out with a percentage. We'll give you 10% off of your first order. We'll give you to join our email list. Or you can start out with a product like us. We maybe we'll give you a free pack of ground beef. But you always have to have some kind of offer there. And then further down the line, depending on what kind of company you are, you can also offer, like we have things down the line that we want to do, like a cookbook. We want to do, an online ebook. So that our main go-to right now really has been our discount for our product, because a lot of the people that are coming to the site, of course, everybody wants a little bit of a discount. Doesn't take very much to do. So driving that traffic, the first thing they see, and they see it a couple of times, they see it on the side. So you've got to make, I think, first part of the strategy is you got to put it out there. And a lot of people see pop-ups as annoying and all of that, but it's a necessity. I think if you're not doing it, you're really dropping the ball. Allow a very simple, easy out of that pop-up. Don't make it annoying, and make it, set your timers and set your strategically. And if you're going to do, but allow that right there, and allow them to stay on the page as well. Second strategy on that is not just gathering those emails, but we also have run ads for traffic. We've run our retargeting ads through Google AdWords, as well as through our Facebook and Instagram, all of that stuff. So, and the beauty of that is that if you have all of your you're not losing anyone in the mix. So either we're going to get you as a customer, an email subscriber, where we can get back in front of you, or we're going to get you with an ad a little bit later, but we're going to stay in front of you. But as far as the email goes, we treat you like gold once we get you. So that has been our key to success. And I think the biggest thing that gathering emails, you can do it a lot of different ways. You should do it the right way. Pop-ups, offers. We have had some branded giveaways. Giveaways are good, but they come with their cost as well, because it's, they're the people that are subscribing for certain reasons. But we were able to kind of put all of that together. We run our Google Ads, also have an email. So anywhere and everywhere you see us, you can sign up for our email and get either a discount or get something. So we've been able to really, really leverage that. But also, when we get you, we treat you like gold. You have an in-doc series that you subscribe to. So we have basically we call it 3 days of Christmas. When you come in and you sign up for us, that you're going to get an email telling you all about us, everything about us. We're going to give you a discount, a special discount at the end of your email, but it really indoctrinates you into who we are and what we believe, and it tells you about the company. The second email, and then we tell you exactly what you can expect. The second email that you get and we let you know tomorrow, for the next 2 days, you're going to get another email, and they're each going to have their own little gifts in them. And so the next day we send more videos that kind of, hopefully they watch, and shows them a little bit more about the ranch, shows them a little bit more about John, our founder, and shows them more about our beliefs on our animals and how we treat them and all of that good stuff. And then we offer another discount to different products. So maybe they're into pork, maybe they're beef, or maybe they're merch, who knows. And then the last one is more of a short and sweet. And it for us marketers out there, what that also does is it kills two birds with one stone. The engagement, as far as Gmail goes, it gets us immediately out of their spam folder. So once they click and they engage with those emails, because there's a lot of stuff in there. Two, we're bouncing them around to our social media. We have a quickly growing social media following. So we're bouncing them around to there, and they get rewards for going there as well. And then also, it's just, again, there's no doubt about it, who we are and what we stand for. And I think people appreciate that. And then we don't bombard them. We send one email a week, and we pepper in. Sometimes that's going to be about a promotion, but sometimes it's just about, D-Day. It could be about a military. We support our troops. We're very patriotic. So it could be about, what D-Day is about, what Memorial Day is about. Or it could be just a recipe for, working with our meat, like, a breakfast recipe or something like that. So I think the key is gathering those emails the right way, several different ways, diversify the way you do it, but also once you get them, treat them like gold. Don't waste the opportunity and just hit them with promotions every single week.
And I think that you brought up a lot of good points with your strategy here. And that one, you're building a story. So you're letting people know more about the brand, more about the founders, more about what your company is passionate about, letting them kind of feel a part of the company, feel a part of that brand, and have loyalty. So you're building brand loyalty. And then it's also great because you're consistent with your emails. Like, oh, well, I know every Wednesday I get an email, so it might be, maybe it's a discount. I need to order some food, but I have to make sure I open it because it could be that, that email with the discount. So you're constantly getting people to open up your emails and be expecting it. And like you said, it could just end up being a story about D-Day, but it could also be that, 20% off offer for your, loyal newsletter subscribers. And it's also, too, I think that a lot of companies and brands might not even be aware of this, but you can enter in your email list into Facebook ads and Instagram ads. So you can retarget people who are already on your email list through a certain ad. So it's just another way to get in front of people that are already interested in your product.
Exactly. It's just staying in front of them. And another piggyback on all that on the email stuff is like, that's the initial, but we have, if you look at our whole strategy, it looks like, something for, it looks like a storyboard from like Homeland or something, because we really do segment, because we also want to keep the right information in front of the right people. I think segmentation is super important, because there's one thing to have an email plan and then to have an actual strategy. And like, if you're, I always use the example, if you're a exercise company, you have endurance sports and you have strength. And if you're always shoving endurance sports down the strength people's throat, and that's all the information you give, you're really missing the boat there. So we have a lot of different strategies too, like as far as, some people are just more pork people, some people are more beef people. So segmenting by that, but also there's just a ton of, and we could talk about this for hours, but there's like a ton of little things that go a long way with email marketing. Like, we have thank you emails that are segmented by your first order, your second order, and your third order. So they're just different. It's a different message. We have 6-month anniversary emails that are just out of nowhere are going to give you a discount for being a loyal customer. So it's a lot of different things that go into the follow up through, and then we have a review email that we get really good feedback from our review email. Like, we're just like, and we're putting it out there. We're like, hey, here's the link to review us on Google. Here's a link to review us on Facebook. But even if you don't want to do that, just send us a message back on what you think, and we get a lot of true real time. Right. Yeah. And it's like, and it's mostly good, but the bad is just as good and valuable to receive as the good. Like, if someone has a problem with shipping, most of the time it's not our fault, but at the same time we can address it, and we can,
you might not even know that there was a problem.
But yeah, it's exactly. And so it's another way, but we have a ton of those emails that are constantly kind of going out. But every time, the way I look at it, every single time, and whether it's a shipping notification or a delivery notification, that is a chance to be in front of your customer. And then once your customer, if you're not following up with your customers within a week or so of getting their product, the time they order is usually the happiest you're going to have them, So, and then once they get the product, and right after that is a follow-up, those are the valuable time, and people really, really appreciate that. And so I think setting that all up, and it takes a long time. It takes hiring a person and if you're a solopreneur, that's really tough. It's really tough to do, but taking the time to do that, and at least getting it on a good automation to where you're speaking, but at the same time to where you're replying in real time, it's invaluable, and it creates our customer retention shot out the roof after we implemented all of this stuff.
And yeah, like you brought up, it's a very long process to get all of that set up. But
Mm-hmm.
once you have those funnels created, it'll, everything is automated for the most part, and
Right.
it's just if there is something that's like a one-off of, I had a bad experience, then that's where someone from customer service needs to step in and handle it directly. So someone's not just
Exactly.
sitting there and sending out all these emails one by one to people. This is all an automated system. There's many
Right.
out there. I know there's Entreport. I know there's MailChimp, Infusionsoft. What email software do you find to be the most beneficial?
I've used them all. Like I really have. I feel like I've used HubSpot and Infusionsoft, and which is cool because they're all very expensive tools. But once you kind of understand how to use them, MailChimp and Constant Contact, I think so. I'm going to come at this a little bit different. If you're smaller, for the benefit of your listeners, for a smaller company that is kind of getting started with their program, Constant Contact is amazing. It's a really solid program. It's inexpensive to where you can do most of the things that you want to do there. Now, once you hit a certain level, like where we are, and your strategy is growing, and it's a little more complicated, and it's a serious web of automations and triggers and all these funnels going everywhere. And once you get there, we use Klaviyo, which I love Klaviyo. They're pretty solid with their flows. The analytics are amazing that you can pull from that. It's you're able to kind of take the reports that you can pull and really dive into your funnels, because once you have your funnel, like to your point, once you have those funnels set up, all it really is changing the content, and checking the analytics. Like, okay, this open rate is amazing, but this second follow up is just, I mean, it's dead in the water, and it's usually a content issue. It's usually, so go back and fix that. But Klaviyo has been amazing, and it's pricey, but at the same time, if you learn how to use it and spend the time to use it, it's, as far as for your business, it'll pay for itself pretty quick. If you're really dedicated to that email program and you really have the time to do it, I would highly recommend. I actually, but to go back, I did love HubSpot as well. It's complicated, but it's pretty cool. Currently I'm just absolutely in love with Klaviyo, and they have a great support and training, all of that. So if they really are dedicated to the email game, I highly recommend them. But just a tier down, I would Constant Contact can get the job done just very well. So
now, let's just go basic for somebody who might just be getting started on their email campaign. Let's say they're like, I only have 20 subscribers. Do I really need to waste my time on emails? I say hands down, yes, absolutely, because those 20 can certainly turn into 200 very quickly. Tell us 3 emails that you would get started for those 20 subscribers when you're trying to kind of grow your email list and just get started with your email campaigns.
First of all, if with those 20, I would 100% do a referral email. You're trying to a referral, create if you're in e-commerce or whatever you are, create some kind of incentive to tell a friend. There's no better marketing than word of mouth marketing. So I would definitely start with that. It depends on where you are with them. Obviously, if they're a brand new subscriber, you have 20 brand new subscribers, you definitely want to indoctrinate them with your company and why you're different. Why do I care? You incentivize them to open every email. Put your offers at the very end of the email. Tell them, and it's written right at the bottom. It pays to read to the end of our emails. So I would definitely, I would start if it's new, I would start with some kind of indoctrination series, to kind of indoctrinate them. But I would also do definitely a referral email as well to set that up. And most, I know Constant Contact is kind of cracked down on the forward. They used to have the forward tool, but I would definitely, you can set up really, really easily uh, loyalty programs if you're using Shopify or Magento or any of those guys. So I guess to take a step back from there, I would set up a loyalty program that tracks your referrals, then put those codes into an email, and you'll double your emails overnight. Uh, and then that goes, and you keep doing that as well. Loyalty programs, refer a friend. We have one that's give $25, get $25. We use Smile.io, and that works very, very well. As far as like gathering more emails from those guys as well, stay in front of them. You're not bothering them unless you're giving them useless information. A lot of people are like, well, I just don't believe in, I don't want to bother their inbox. Hey, if you don't, somebody is. But just make sure your emails have substance. Make sure that you're not, value, promotion, value, promotion, as well. And and that varies by industry, but you have a lot of things to talk about. And hopefully you enjoy the industry you're into, so you can kind of put things out there that are valuable to those people within like us. We talk about grilling, we talk about different recipes, we talk about different cuts. Where does a brisket come from? So things like that for us. So make sure you're adding value, and then you earn the right to promote to people.
Exactly.
And they appreciate that. I would definitely focus on that, but to increase, I would definitely create some kind of incentive, a referral incentive. I would also to increase, work with, whether you're a tiny brand or you're a big brand, co-branding a giveaway, just a small giveaway. Everybody, something like that can definitely go along. And I wouldn't say they're always the highest valued subscriber, but at the same time, if 50% of them, you can retain 50% of them, that's a huge amount. But once you get them in, just don't let them leave. Make them want to stay on your email list. Make them want to, when they get your email, make them want to open it.
Yeah.
So I think that answered your question, but a couple of different ways.
I think that's great. The biggest thing people need to remember is you don't want to be that person at the party who all they do is talk about themselves and then never asks, well, how are you doing? You want to make sure that
exactly.
You want to make sure that they're always part of it's a conversation, and you're giving them value. There's a reason for you to be in their inbox, and they're going to enjoy, either one, they're going to get something, whether it's a discount, it's for financially, or it's going to be of value for them because they're going to learn something. So I think that that's something that everybody needs to keep in mind when they are doing email campaigns. Don't just flood inboxes constantly trying to sell.
Right.
Be in their inbox and give them that something that they might not have known. So give them a discount, give them a reason that you're there.
Exactly. I think a lot of people still have that stigma of email marketing as like, I'm just bothering people. But like to your party example, I always use the example of like a neighbor. Like if I went to my neighbor every day and I was like, hey, can I borrow your lawnmower? Hey, can I borrow, do you have any salt? I'm constantly asking for stuff. Eventually he's not going to answer his door. they're not gonna want to listen to me. But if I'm like, hey, we made some extra brisket, or hey, I was mowing my lawn, so I'm gonna mow yours.
Yeah.
If you're starting to do those things, it's the same exact concept. Then he's gonna take my call. He's gonna open the door. So you're not constantly trying to take something. You're giving. So, and I think, that's easier said than done. But at the same time, if you take the time to do it, it pays off so much in the long run. Your email marketing will become a core piece of your revenue. So.
Well, Roger, I could talk email marketing with you all day, but
me too.
I was just saying we'll have to set up another call for this. This has been such a great conversation. Where can we find out more about you and your businesses online?
So definitely our website's gingertreeinnovations.com, gingerupmedia.com. Ginger Up Media is kind of wind down a little bit. I focus on Mountain Primal Meat. The main one I want you to go to is Mountain Primal Meat. It's just mountainprimal.com. Check us out on Instagram at Mountain Primal. Check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn. We're on all the platforms. But go to the website. If you're interested in what our email program looks like, just join the email program and take a look. You'll get 10% off and a couple of other goodies I won't tell you about. And unless you sign up, you'll know.
Industry.
Exactly, and you'll learn where that chuck roast comes from that you're putting in the slow cooker. We'll
Awesome.
tell you.
Well, awesome. Thank you again so much for coming on the show today.
You bet. Thanks for having me anytime. I appreciate it. It's good to talk shop.